What's up, guys? This is Chris with BenhamBaseballCards.com again. I got a little bit throwbackish. I can't remember. I can't think of the word. Reminiscent, maybe. I was feeling like getting some older cards. I just shot a video for 1985 Topps. Let me refocus this real quick. 1985 Topps vending box. Something that I had to, my battery or my card filled up and I had to reshoot another couple of minutes, but I opened one 500 card vending box of that 85 Topps. I have 4 more vending boxes, so I got 2,500 single cards in vending format, so there's no wax, no gum, no sugar. That one will get posted before this. This one, as some of you may recognize instantly by sight, some of you my age and that enjoyed these cards. Wow. Nice. These things were packaged pretty tight for them to stick together like that. 1992 Topps. This was the year before Jeter's rookie, so this isn't what you're thinking it is. I got a lot of these on Dave and Adam's Card World. I got 180 packs for about $88 or whatever it was, $88.30. But there's 15 cards per pack. What is that? 207? What? 2,700 cards? Yeah. 2,700 1992 Topps singles. I remember when they first came out with 92 Topps. 91 Topps was the last year that they did. They used the old card stock, the old style. The brown cards is what some people call them, for lack of a better description. This is the year they switched to the white card stock, and obviously continued that on through 93, and then I think they might have changed. No, they used white in 94 and 95 as well. 95 is about when I faded out of the hobby itself. I'll hold on to these wrappers. But the reason they were able to do such a large lot of cards was these came from boxes that had broken open or something like that, and they just piled all these loose packs together and sold them as a big lot to get rid of them. Now in 1992, that was the first year they started doing gold cards. This was a scratch-off card that you were able to scratch. This was a separate part right here on the bottom. The home plate thing was you just collected a bunch of runs up. But I think you were supposed to scratch 3 of these off. Scratch 3 stats to match winning stat at right. So you had to match 26. So I could scratch off 3 of these, and I needed to match 26 within the 3 that I scratched before I got an out or I lost, and then you reveal your price here. The tricky part was if you scratched this part off, the whole thing was void. The ticket was void. Topps matched the stats is what they called it. Doug Henry, Jeff Blauser, Pat Borders, Joe Hesketh, Don Mattingly, Donnie Baseball. I believe this was actually one of the Cards Your Mom Threw Out cards. Obviously these are going to be the originals. These are not 2011, 2010 cards. These are actually 1992 cards from that year. Dave Stewart, Jim Eisenreich, Dave Bergman, Greg Olson, Ron Darling, Brian Harvey, Tony Gwynn, Nelson Santovenia, Steve Wilson, and Oral Hershiser in the first pack. This is obviously not 180 packs sitting here in front of me. I have the box full of them that's probably got another 2 or 3 quantities like this over there waiting for me to get to them. But I didn't have many 92 singles. The 1992 was the first year they used gold cards, but they were only 1 per hobby box or 1 per box. Very much unlike 1993, in which they were 1 per pack. So I did buy 1 hobby box I found from somebody online a couple of years ago, and it had 1 gold card in it. It was Junior Ortiz, so nobody spectacular. Nothing against Junior Ortiz, but Nolan Ryan would have been better, obviously. It's not because of the player, it's because of the demand for the card. Joe McGrain, who now is a commentator, analyst on MLB Tonight. Jeff King, Kevin Bass, Bob McDonald. Mitch Williams, also a commentator on MLB Network. Darren Fletcher, Gino Petralli, Bill Kruger, John Habian, Louis Soho, Deion Sanders, Mark Lee, Wilson Alvarez, Jay Howell, and Bruce Hurst. About that. Good old Deion. Good old two-sport Deion. Am I actually going to, no, I was going to say, am I actually going to get to have a pack that's not going to rip all the way open? But no, I didn't get one. Because I got 180 packs of these, there's only 36 packs to a box back then. I wonder, that's about 4.5 hobby boxes. I wonder if I'll get 4 gold cards or if I'll get more, because these packs came from random sources, not just straight hobby boxes. I think some of the scratch-off stuff got on this Eric Schau. Eric Schau, Brian McRae, Tony Fernandez, Gino Petralli, Bill Kruger, John Habian, Louis Soho, Deion Sanders. We just saw this. So obviously these were also done by computer, even in '92. John Kruk, an analyst on ESPN, I believe. I don't think he's... Where is Krucky from? I want to say he's on ESPN. Mo Sanford, Keith Mitchell, a checklist, Mark Wohlers, and David Wells when he was with the Blue Jays. That was well before his Yankees days, well before his Tigers days. It may not have been well before, but it was before. You know what? Now I'm curious. Yeah, Blue Jays was his first team. 5 or 6 years he was there. Les Lancaster, Gene Nelson, Sandy Alomar, Pascual Perez, Jeff Robinson, Steve Olin, Milt Thompson, Jesse Barfield, Henry Cotto, Danny Cox, Dean Palmer, Willie Randolph, Rock Raines, which is Tim Raines, Ray Langford's second year with the little generic-looking Topps trophy there. You guys can see it actually looks like some of the trophies they still use today, but they keep changing it for different card styles now. And Dave Gallagher finishes out the pack now. I put Steve Olin on top. In 1993, this card set was issued in 92, and in spring training of 1993, Steve Olin, Tim Cruz, and Bob Ojeda were, after the last day of spring training, right before the regular season started, these guys were in a speedboat on a lake in, I'm assuming, Florida. It could have been Arizona, but I don't know where they played. I assume Cleveland plays in Florida. But Steve Olin and Tim Cruz were both killed when the boat struck a dock. I believe Steve Olin was killed instantly and Tim Cruz died later at the hospital. Their chest, the dock was a big, huge, thick dock. I believe it was made with like trees that were shaped into logs, kind of like telephone pole size logs. And the dock struck their chests, and that was not good, and ended up being the beginning of a very tragic couple of seasons for the Indians. Bobby Ojeda ended up recovering, but obviously would be marred by that for the very short remainder of his career. And later on, either in that season or the next season, Cleveland lost another pitcher who died. I think it was from a car accident, and I don't remember which pitcher it was, but I have the 1993 SportsCenter episode where they did the year in review thing that has all that information in it. Rob Malakote, Dale Murphy, Dave Burba, Eddie Murray, Charlie Leibrandt, Brian Hickerson, Robin Yount, Jose Melendez, Dennis Boyd, Delino DeShields, Jose Canseco, Jerry Don Gleaton, just as I promised from the 85 video, Jerry Don Gleaton as a Tiger, Franklin Stubbs, Gary Sheffield in a Brewers uniform. He was his rookie card was 1989 Topps, I believe. It was a Future Stars card. And Hensley Mullins. Obviously, I'm not going to go through all 180 packs of these. I may film them all, but I'm not going to put you guys through all of them, because it would drag on pretty badly. It wouldn't be very good for... It wouldn't be a very good attempt at me getting views on videos, so... basically, just looking for the gold cards so I can show you what those look like and how they were positioned in the packs. I guess I could probably scroll through these now instead of just highlight the names that you guys would recognize. Omar Vizquel, who may or may not still play today, I'm not sure. I think he still plays today. Jerry Brown, to give you an idea, his first year was 1989. He played for the Mariners almost all season, 143 games out of obviously 162. So 1989 to now, Omar Vizquel has been playing. 99-09 was 20 years, so he'd be in his 23rd season if he were still playing this year. I thought I remember seeing him earlier. Cecil Fielder, the father of Prince Fielder, who I just watched an interview of it today, interview with Prince Fielder on MLB Network, that kind of told me the story of why Prince and his dad don't get along very well. It's because his dad at some point told him that he only got a chance at baseball and was only able to get the attention that he got and the notoriety that he got with baseball because of his name being Fielder and being the son of Cecil Fielder. I lost a lot of respect when I heard Prince tell the camera that. I know what it's like to be disappointed by a father, so that was a hard one to accept, because I really liked Cecil Fielder in the 90s when he played. He gave my grandfather and I some good games to watch. So that was quite disappointing, and I tip my cap to Prince Fielder for not making a huge issue out of that. And I mean, he's been playing for how many years, and I just finally heard him say something about that. He said it really hurt him. Other people have done that to him, said that to him, just fans or in general, but to hear it from his dad, it really hurt him a lot. So he spent his career trying to shake that off and prove to everybody that he's Prince Fielder. He's not Cecil Fielder's son. He's Prince Fielder, his own person. Bobby Bonilla, back to the Cards here. And Jack Morris, longtime Tiger, switched over to the Twins. He started in 77, switched to the Twins in 91, and ended up retiring as a Twin. But if he goes into the Hall of Fame, he'll be a Tiger, obviously. But he ended up getting into the Twins broadcast booth. Now, because Topps switched to cellophane packages away from the wax packs in 91 that they had, and they've always used cellophane in some of the rack packs, but this was all cellophane. There were no wax packs. I don't believe there were any wax packs. There might have been a few in the beginning. It seems like I remember the very first boxes of them had wax, and then they switched to cellophane mid-year. Once they switched to cellophane, that got rid of the wax on the back card. No more wax. And Topps stopped putting gum in them, I think, in 91, I think was the last year they had gum. No gum in these because people were starting to pay a lot of attention to the cards. Jason Pruitt, Carney Lansford, Steve Farr, Bobby Bonilla All-Star, Paul O'Neill, Kenny Rogers, Jeff Ballard, Randy Johnson, Bobby Cox. Like I said, I was going to highlight the big names here, and as I got into the Fielder conversation, I kind of forgot what my plan was. I'm already at 13, almost 13 and a half minutes with this one. But you guys are getting a really good idea of what it's like to open these 1992 Topps cards, and I'd love nothing more than to sit here and open all these on video for everybody, but the problem with that is that not everybody likes that, and while I'm trying not to focus on what people don't want, I do need to focus a little bit on what people do want. So, and some of the people do want me to not do boring stuff like that. Fred McGriff, the crime dog. Bert Blyleven. Cito Gaston, longtime manager. We always looked at this photo of Kelly Gruber here. It always looks like he's in jail, like behind bars, because of the shadow that the window was providing. I'm not sure where he was or what he was doing, obviously in the locker room somewhere, but just the shadows of the bars just makes it look like he was in jail, so we always treated that card as if he was in jail. Julio Franco All-Star, who played until he was over 40, and he still hit a home run at 40. I think he became the first 40-year-old to hit a home run, or something crazy like that. It had something to do with him being 40 and hitting a home run. Obviously, he's long since retired, being that he'd be about 50 now. I believe he hit that home run with the Mets, but he played a long time with the Texas Rangers. As I look at the back of this card here, it reminded me that I did, when I was a kid back in 1992, and I still believe I have the card. For some reason it missed the black ink or the dark ink. I believe it was black because there was no black ink on the back of it. It still had a rough picture down here of the stadium, the Topps logo, and the player name, and this blue line that goes around. It had the colored lines. Anything of color it had, but anything that had black or that was with black or had black added to it to make it darker, there was no black ink on the back of the card, including the card number. So I had to try to figure out what card Mike Magnante was. I believe it was Magnotti. Yeah, that was it. But for the life of me, I kept it and never knew anything about it. Now in this era, we know. I don't think they ever did it for 92 Topps, but there were a lot of blank back cards that ended up popping up later on, and that people started to generate a demand for. Mo Vaughn, the big first baseman for the Red Sox for a long time. Big feared hitter. These cards are 7 years older than the 85 Topps that I just opened that are sitting behind the stacks of those 92 packs. 7 years, and a lot can change in 7 years. I mean, look at the card quality, this, as I'm going through that box of 85 cards, there's so many of them that are off-center. It legitimately looks like there's going to be half the box I'm going to lose to off-center cards alone. Tony Gwynn, Mookie Wilson, Robin Ventura, Paul Molitor. There's a few star players in here. They just don't go for very much money because it's 92 Topps. It's not a high demand card series because there wasn't anybody like a Jeter in it. Lou Whitaker. Sweet Lou, who was the other half of the Alan Trammell Lou Whitaker double play combination that has more double plays in the history of the game as a duo or tandem than anybody else. It was, I believe, George Brett and Frank White were the one before that Lou Whitaker and Alan Trammell beat. Greg Maddux when he played for the Cubs. Rob Dibble, who I believe is an ESPN announcer, Cal Ripken All-Star. Skeeter Barnes, short-time Tigers player. He wasn't very big. I mean, he wasn't around for very long. Something special about Skeeter Barnes that many people don't know is that Skeeter was deaf. He played with a hearing aid in his ear, and he was able to read sign language. To be able to reach Major League Baseball as a person with normal every human abilities is remarkable, but to be able to reach Major League Baseball with a disability like that and still have it work out for you is just amazing. That tells you about his dedication. It speaks to you about his personality. When I opened up this pack here, you're not going to be able to see it in that focus there. You see that little brown triangle? When I opened up the pack here, it had a little bit of a triangular hole where the plastic met. You can kind of see right here where this would have been. It had a little bit of a triangular hole here that over the almost 20 years that these packs have been wrapped. Oh wow. The silver has kind of rubbed off on these. Yeah, it's kind of powdering. It's rubbed off on this little scratch-off thing. This was worth 1 run. There was void. 92 Gold Card Series pack of 10 was the prize. Wow. There were a lot of outspots in there. what I was saying is in the 20 years that these packs have been sealed, that oxidation, or it could be people holding it or whatever, it could be just dirt, dust, whatever, turned it brown in a perfect triangle. Travis Fryman, fantastic third baseman for the Tigers for a short period of time, and he ended up going to I believe to the Indians, and I believe he still is a manager in the AAA Indian system. Great third baseman, had a rocket for an arm. Rich Gossage was Goose Gossage, Hall of Famer. And Alan Trammell referred to Goose Gossage as one of the most fearful pitchers to face. Part of it, I imagine a lot of it had to do with the look on Goose's face, with his mean stare and the Fu Manchu mustache. Just kind of looked like a down and dirty, gritty player, and looked like a guy you didn't want to meet in a dark alley on a bad day. Good old Goose Gossage. Skeeter Barnes again. Fryman again. Darryl Strawberry. Nice long photo of Darryl there. And the Dodgers after he left the Mets. I don't recognize any of the names here on this prospect card as players that played for any long period of time. Jimmy Leland. Significant because he is the Tigers' current manager. How about that? Lloyd McClendon. Significant because he's the Tigers' current batting coach? Yeah, hitting coach. Lloyd McClendon right next to Jim Leland, and you can see why. They've obviously known each other for quite a long time. And Lloyd McClendon, I believe, used to be the manager of the Pirates at one point, as well as Leland. Now they're both running the show in Detroit there for the Tigers. Mike Sharperson, Aguilera, Ken Griffey Sr., Ron Gant, who's now an analyst on MLB Network, Todd Van Poppel, one of the most disappointing draft picks that there was. Man, that guy was so highly touted and then just nothing, just never did anything. Probably going to run out of room again on this SD card, so if it cuts off, I'll explain it on the next one that it cut off. But you guys got to be getting pretty used to that. Joe Carter. Wow, Wally Joyner with a crease straight down the middle. That is no good. Come on. It looks like it just got wrinkled in the machine. David Cone. Ricky Henderson.